Mamba out.
Drippin', saucy, yeah, bitch, I do this often. My bitch is bad, she always in office. Don't got the tags on running my body. Can't see the pads, I'm living new fast. With 20 my dash, I'm up, but I lost him. He wanna brag, I emptied his bag and took what he had. Don't care what it cost him. Then he broke, he turned to a hoe. I seen him before, the shit is exhausting. Ran on a hoe, I wanna be known. The stage of my soul, you ran even more. Already been broke.
Yo, what's up? Welcome to Sports Audio 80. I'm Derek Simons, and that's even less than thank you for listening to Sports Audio 80. If you haven't already, make sure to like this video. Make sure to touch it, make a comment below. Also, make sure to hit that button for posts, notifications for every video, and add it from the channel. And today we are discussing Collin, Sexton, and the drama going in Cleveland with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Aiden, there was a report that came out a couple of days ago saying that the Cavaliers players are upset with Collin Sexton because he is pretty ball dominant, and that's a bad thing to say about pretty much the future of your franchise and your best player. So Aiden, I'm gonna give you the floor here. What are your thoughts about what Collin Sexton had to say, his response to his teammates, and do you see Collin Sexton with the Cavaliers in the future?
Those two questions I have very different answers to. My thoughts is that, well, I mean, who else the fuck do you want him to pass to?
Darius, I mean, you have Darius Garland, you have Kevin
Darius
Love.
Garland, yeah, Sexland was a sham, whatever they wanted to call
They
themselves.
drafted
That was wrong. That was wrong. Isaac Okoro is not a scorer. He was the best defender in the draft. You probably might not have watched him at Auburn, but I did. He is not what you want to do. He's not the guy you feed in the paint. He's not the guy. He gets you your blocks. He gets you your rebounds, and that's about all he can do.
Right. What about Kevin Love, though?
Get out of there, Kevin. Get out of there. Get out of there.
I'm just saying. You saying that Collin Sexton didn't have anybody.
I'm saying
you have Kevin Love.
I'm saying that first of all, they don't even start Isaac Okoro. Isaac Okoro is still coming off the damn bench, so that's stupid. Second of all, after Darius Garland got hurt, it was basically a sham. I don't think they're going to rebuild that. Third of all, Kevin Love hasn't been right since 2 seasons ago, so he needs to leave immediately. Third of all, back to your second question on if Collin Sexton is going to stay with the Cavaliers. Collin Sexton is going to be gone. He's going to be gone. Me and you both know this. I love Collin Sexton. He's going to leave, and he's going to go to a contender, and he's going to help them contend for a championship. Collin Sexton is going to leave the Cleveland Cavaliers. For the simple fact of the matter is that he's already been disliked by the fans. He's disliked by the media over there now. Now, apparently, his teammates dislike him. It's the move. It's the move to leave. Leave Cleveland. That is the move. There's a couple cities you can't win over once you pissed them off. Cleveland, New York, Boston, the other New York team, the other side of New York,
Brooklyn. Yeah.
Brooklyn, you can't piss off. I don't recommend pissing off Milwaukee. Well, no. You can't. You shouldn't piss off Dallas. There are a couple types of people you just don't piss off. And unfortunately, you pissed off some of the most self-fresh people in the world. It was not a good move on his part. It was not. It's gone downhill, and I think it's time for Cleveland to do a complete overhaul. Trade Love, trade Sexton, trade Garland. Get yourself a bunch of picks. Build around a different setup because it's time to blow it up. It's time to blow it up. That's my view. That's my answer to both your questions, Darius. Those are my thoughts. Collin Sexton will be gone to a contender in a couple of years, and that this is not a good situation for him or the organization to be in. When your top player, your point guard, can't be a distributor with the ball, which, first of all, there are point guards who aren't distributors. We can understand that. You can lead through your two. It's not, you don't always got to come through the one. Sometimes you can come through the two. James Harden is top 15 all time for assists. You can come through the two. It's not impossible, but it's it requires a certain scheme with a certain amount of players that I don't think that they have access to at the moment, and it's making everybody else feel discombobulated, and it's making everybody else feel like they don't know what they're doing just because of this one simple mistake that can be fixed in the future or could not be fixed in the future. I don't know, but for right now, my move for Collin Sexton would be to leave.
Aiden. So I'm looking at Collin Sexton here, alright? He's having a phenomenal season, right? A very underrated season. Like, look at him. His average career high points, averaging around 25 points per game. Field goal, he's literally shooting almost 50% from the field. That's incredible for a point guard, which is pretty ball dominant. Assists, he's averaging around 4 assists per game, and he's averaging 1.1 steals. He's becoming one of the NBA's most efficient and elite scorers, and he definitely hasn't solid all the noise. Now I'm looking at the comments and the whispers coming out of the Cavs locker room. Here's just a couple things that I've read. All right, he should be a six man. He dribbles too much. He doesn't pass enough. He's too small. The Cavs play better without him. He can't guard anyone.
Whoa!
Cleveland's
First of all,
Cleveland's tiny backcourt won't work. His teammates don't like him. Opponents don't respect him. He's not a winner, and he doesn't take coaching well.
not a winner.
Those are just. This is what I'm reading right now from Cleveland.com. From what I'm hearing from the Cavs.
First of all, he was one of the best defensive players in high school and in college. Second of all, he came from a top winning pro. Where did Collin Sexton go to college again, Darius?
Alabama, I believe. Alabama.
Alabama. Okay. They're winning. They weren't okay. Alabama has developed over time into a good basketball school. Didn't always start off as that. But he was a high school winner. He was a winner in high school. This is a guy who came up in the ranks from the 400th ranked player in the nation to the 40th to a top 30 ranked player in the nation. He is a hard worker. He gives full effort. He can be a top defender. Now, some things that they did say in that article are true. His teammates clearly don't like him. For him to be a point guard, yes, he doesn't pass enough, but for him to be a ball dominant guard, he's all right. His handles have never been the best, but they weren't never horrible, right? By any means. He doesn't cause turnovers. Like you said, he's efficient. So I don't understand what they're saying here.
Right. So I'm looking at what Sexton, his response, all right? He said, everybody got their opinion. Everybody's going to say what they have to say. I take bits and pieces and things. I don't take everything they say. They feel like I'm not doing good or something. I'm going to make sure I prove them wrong. I just go out there and prove them wrong. They say I can't be a point guard. Now these next stretch of games, I'm going to go out there and show them that I can do both. Run the team and score the ball as well. And be efficient with it. I pretty much just take the criticism and run with it and just have them look crazy down the stretch, all right? Cleveland, all right, Collin Sexton was the main player that the Cavaliers got via the Kyrie Irving trade, all right? This was the offseason where LeBron left. I recall Collin Sexton when he got drafted during his interview, begging LeBron to stay. LeBron did not. All right. So I'm looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers here. You have Collin Sexton. Aiden, I know you're pretty high on him. You ranked him in your top 15 players under 25 and under. All right. Collin Sexton, efficient scorer. He can score the basketball. I mean, playmaking. That's what we expect from point guards nowadays. We expect playmaking. And from a Cleveland Cavaliers standpoint, you have some solid players. You have Kevin Love, a former All-Star. He hasn't played like he has done in the past, but he's dealt with a lot when it comes to injuries and mental health issues and others, all right, anxiety and others. You have Isaac Core, phenomenal defensive player coming out of high school and in college coming out of Auburn. You have Darius Garland. I'm very high on him. I think he can make some noise, but not in Cleveland. I think you put him on another team, another youthful team. I do think he could be more successful than now compared to today in Cleveland. I'm looking at guys like Sadie Osman. All right, he was one of those key players in that 2018 Finals run. Even though they fell short, got swept by Golden State back in 2018. City Osman was looking like the next big time player in Cleveland. So, I mean, Darius Garland has been out a couple of games. I mean, he's been dealing with some ankle injuries and some. But if you're Collin Sexton, this should be pretty bad for you. And I mean, this seems pretty bad because like when your teammates say that about you, Aiden, in any sports league, when your teammates they can't even say it to your face when teammates tell reporters and it's just whispers in the locker room that, hey, you're not a leader. You shouldn't start. All right? You shouldn't start. I mean, we're better without you than we are with you. I mean, you can't guard anyone. You're tiny. You can't. You're a tiny backcourt. I mean, we don't like you. Like,
He's okay. We've said this about some of the people in this in that we've talked about, and we've said this about some of our friends that played this game. He's short, but he's not small. That says all it needs to say. He's short, but he's not small.
right. So I'm looking at these comments here, Aiden. When you have your teammates say that about you in any sport, all right, in any sport, in any level of sports, high school, college, or even at the professional level, it's bad. It's bad. And you feel bad about yourself when your teammates say they don't like you, when they say that the opponents don't respect you, that they say you're not a winner, that you can't even be coached. You know, Aiden, there are 99 problems in Cleveland, but Collin Sexton isn't one. All right. I'm looking at the coaching at Cleveland. All right, JB Bickerstaff. All right, I have a lot of respect for him. You look at his resume. All right, you go back to his days. I remember him being the interim coach of the Rockets after Kevin McHale was fired. He did a great job then. I remember when he stepped in Memphis. He did a solid job, especially considering the lack of talent they had there. Now he's with Cleveland. Collin Sexton is your main guy. All right, you have a couple of young pieces, but clearly you're not there. You are a lottery team at best. At best, you already been eliminated from playoff contention. You haven't even been in the playoff discussion. The highest you got in East Conference standings this season, throughout the course of the 60 or so games, was 10th place. You haven't been in top 8 all season long. You're just that bad. And Colin Sexton isn't the problem. It's the culture. It's the environment. And it may even be the talent of the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right, the culture of the Cleveland Cavaliers. They need a culture change. Whether it's a new GM, whether it's a new owner, whether it's a new coach, they need a culture change. Aiden. Now, Aiden, you don't call yourself a Hawks fan, but you're a Trae Young supporter. You have a lot of favorite players. But look at the job, all right? Going to the season for the Atlanta Hawks, all right? I expected them to make the playoffs. All right, they were just that good. They had a lot of pieces. Chris John, Rajon Rondo at one time. They brought in Bogdanovich. All right, but the coaching was not there. But the talent was. They were losing games. Trae Young was getting injured and so. But guess what? Nate McMillan stepped in, and the Atlanta Hawks are probably going to secure the number 5 seed, the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. All right. That's a coaching change. Nate, you know I'm very high on Nate McMillan. The situation in Indiana, all right. And they were clear at first when the talent did not match up with teams like Milwaukee and Miami and Boston at the time. But you look at the job Nate McMillan done it, and you look at the job Nate McMillan has done in Atlanta. That just shows what a culture change and a different spark of environment across the Atlanta Hawks. I think that could happen. I do think the same thing can happen with the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right, they need another voice in here, and they need changes, whether it's leadership, ownership, or coaching. They need a change. And Colin Sexton, especially with these remarks, all right, Colin Sexton, I do believe when he becomes a free agent, I don't have his contract here in front of me, but when he does become a free agent, I expect him to leave because if your
Yeah, he'll
teammates,
be a free agent in the next 2 years. I'm definitely sure about that.
right, in his third year, all right, so I'm looking at these comments here. If your teammates are saying this, why should you stay? Why should you stay? Clearly, it seems like your teammates doesn't respect you. Then that shows that ownership doesn't respect you either. And that shows, hey, Well, I guess here, did the fans respect Collin Sexton either? I don't even know a Cavaliers fan, right? So I'm looking at Collin Sexton here. He's a phenomenal young player. He is a phenomenal. He is a talent. All right. I do believe he can be a future all-star when it's all said and done. All right. He is going to leave. Best believe that 100%. All right. Now let's transition to the other players on the Cavaliers. All right. I'm just gonna focus on Kevin Love mainly. Kevin Love. You see, he's not happy. He's not happy in Cleveland. All right. Last time I saw Kevin Love smile when he was on the bench and LeBron came back to Cleveland. All right. So I'm looking at Kevin Love here. He clearly does not like the current circumstances of the Cleveland Cavaliers now. He's going to leave. He's going to go somewhere else and retire soon. All right. Looking at Isaac Corey here. What else can be done with the Cavaliers? Hey, you can't blow up something that's already blowing up. Cavaliers are in the middle of a rebuilding stage. The Cavaliers, I do believe the Cavaliers clearly thought that they would possibly be playoff contenders now because you drafted Collin Sexton back in 2018. You bring in Darius Garland, you bring in Isaac Core. They thought they were going to bring in some top tier free agents with all this time. But it's all about the environment. Nobody wants to play in that environment and that culture. Right? Nobody, no top tier free agent wants to go to them. All right. So when it's all said and done, the first stage of the rebuilding process for the Cleveland Cavaliers has failed because you clearly do not respect your main attraction as of now, your so-called future of this team, and you can't. It's going to enter in other stages of rebuilding. They're a lottery team. I do believe they have. Excuse me, Aiden. Correct me if I'm wrong. They have, as of now, the odds to get the #1 overall pick when it
It's
comes
either
to
them. It's either them.
Minnesota, Houston.
Minnesota, Houston, or Orlando. Yeah, you're right. They have 2 picks in this draft, if I'm not mistaken,
Right. So the Cavaliers
in the first round.
Right. So the Cavaliers definitely have options. They have options, but the culture, it has a culture change has to happen in Cleveland if you want to successfully rebuild the team and regain your popularity across the NBA and regain your respect because clearly you don't respect your star player. You say he should be the damn sixth man. Are you crazy? Because I subject the Collin Sexton is the only reason why we're talking about the Cavaliers right now. So, Collin Sexton, he's gonna leave. They again, the Cavaliers, the Cleveland Cavaliers, need a coaching change, whether it's ownership, whether it's leadership, whether it's coaching. Maybe just do all three. You have some odds to get the #1 overall pick. All right, we have some discussion on that on the way. Um, I have a lot of respect for J.B. Bickerstaff, but I don't believe he is the long-term option when it comes to coaching. You need some more leadership. You need a culture change. That is the #1 thing that has to happen if the Cleveland Cavaliers want to successfully get through this rebuilding stage because we're looking at it right now, Aiden. Entering the month of May, it's not looking good at all, especially regarding that your top young player, your best young player on your team, the best player on your roster has clearly been disrespected and is really projected to leave after these comments. Aiden, do you have any final words?
Collin Sexton definitely going to find his value some way, somehow, some way, some shape, or some form, whether that's on the Cavaliers or not on the Cavaliers. And that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you for joining to Sports Outdoors Aiden. If you haven't already, make sure to like this video, make sure to go to share, comment down below, and also make sure that button post notifications for every video in order from channel. More NBA episodes on the way as we are entering into NBA playoff season. And we will see you tomorrow, everybody. I'm Jared Thomas, and this has been Sports Outdoors Aiden. Until then, everybody, peace and love. See you tomorrow. Peace.